Yosef, Joe, Alon, Hebrew letter Yod, Hebrew letter Vav, Hebrew letter Samek, Hebrew letter final P, Hebrew letter Gimel, Hebrew letter Vav, Hebrew letter Aleph, Hebrew letter Lamed, Hebrew letter Vav, Hebrew letter final Nun, born Joseph Plasak, known also as Joe Alon, July 25, 1929, July 1, 1973, was an Israeli Air Force officer and military attaché to the U.S. who was mysteriously shot and killed in the driveway of his home in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Early life. Alon was born Joseph Plasak on Kibbutz Ein Harod to Jewish immigrants from Czechoslovakia, Siegfried, Friedl, and Tekla Plasak. When he was 2, his family returned to Czechoslovakia, where they settled in Teplice, in the Sudetenland. Following the Munich Agreement, which resulted in the annexation of Sudetenland to Nazi Germany, Alon and his family moved to Prague. On the eve of World War II, Alon's father sent 10-year-old Joseph and his elder brother David to the United Kingdom as part of the Kinder Transport program. He was then adopted by George and Jenny Davidson, a childless Christian couple. Most of his family was wiped out during the Holocaust, with his parents being murdered at Auschwitz. Following the war, he returned to Czechoslovakia and attempted to start a career as a jeweler. He then graduated from a vocational school and then enlisted in the Czechoslovak Air Force, where he successfully completed a pilot course. Alon married Dvorah Alon, née Kirat, a Jewish immigrant from Yemen, on January 1954. They had 3 daughters, Dalia, born 1954, Yael, born 1959, and Rachel, born 1968. IAF career. In 1947, he volunteered for the first pilot's course in the Shirut Avier, the Haganah's Nascent Air Corps. Soon afterward, he moved back to Mandate, Palestine, changed his name to Yosef Alon, and upon Israeli independence in 1948, was among the founding members of the Israeli Air Force. Alon fought in the Israeli War of Independence as a fighter pilot and early member of the nascent Israeli Air Force, and would go on to complete 75 missions. In 1953, he became one of Israel's first jet pilots. From 1953 to 1956, he flew Gloster Meteor and Dassault Aragon aircraft in the Air Force. From August 1960 to August 1961, Alon served as Mr. IV pilot and as commander of the 101 Squadron, which was equipped with Mr. IV aircraft. On November 1961, he returned to command 101 Squadron as the IAF's first Mirage 3 Squadron. In 1965, after attending command and training course in England, Alon went on to head the Air Force safety industry. The highlights of his career in the IAF was the establishment of the Flying Safety Branch and the Hatzerim Air Base, which he commanded from 1966 to 1970. In 1970, then a colonel, Alon was chosen to be the Assistant Air and Naval Attaché at Israel's Embassy in Washington, D.C. Installed in what should have been a 3-year assignment, Alon advocated strongly on Israeli arms procurement, especially regarding the F-4 Phantom. He also established close relationship with the American Jewish community, assisted with the activities of United Jewish Appeal, and gave lectures to students on Israel's cause. Assassination. On the night of June 30, 1973, Yosef Alon and his wife Dvorah went to a dinner party organized for a departing embassy staffer. After 2.5 hours of socializing and drinking, at roughly 12:30 a.m. on July 1, the couple entered their Ford Galaxy and drove home to Chevy Chase, Maryland, arriving about a half hour later. Dvorah exited the vehicle and walked a few dozen feet to their porch while Alon gathered up his sports jacket on the back seat. At this moment, Alon was shot 5 times by a foreign-made .38 caliber revolver, one shot fatally hitting his heart. Dvorah rushed inside and called the police, seeing only a light-colored car drive away, and then returned to the front yard and attempted with her 18-year-old daughter Dalia to stem his bleeding with towels. Alon was taken to a hospital, where he died at 1:27 a.m. Aftermath. Alon's family accepted President Richard Nixon's offer to repatriate Alon's body to Israel through an USAF C-137 Stratoliner. The aircraft left the U.S. from Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland, arriving at Lod Airport in Tel Aviv. With his family on board, Alon is buried with full military honors at Kiryat Shal Military Cemetery. Radio broadcast. Later on July 1, the Cairo-based Voice of Palestine broadcast that, after the assassination of martyr Mohammed Boudia at the hands of the Zionist intelligence elements in Paris, Colonel Yosef Alon was executed. His is the first execution operation carried out against a Zionist official in the U.S. Investigation. The FBI investigation, murder of assistant air attaché Col. Joseph Alon murder, quickly focused on a possible link with Arab terrorism, including following leads given by the Shin Bet, but was ultimately closed in March 1976 without discovering the perpetrators, according to the Associated Press. Sometime later, the CIA was reported to have been told by Fedayeen senior official that on the orders of Black September, 2 students, using Lebanese or Cypriot passports, had passed across the Canada-US border and come to Washington, where, with the help of a local professor, they had rented a car and got the weapons for the assassination. Afterwards, the students were reported to have abandoned the rental for another, which they used to get to Dulles International Airport. From there they flew on to the West Coast, East Asia, and finally the Middle East. This information was passed to the FBI in February 1977, but they could make no new progress, and the investigation was closed. The following year, the collected evidence for the case was destroyed by the Baltimore office of the FBI. Devorah Alon died in 1995 without knowing the identity of her husband's killer. Theories. In his book Chasing Shadows, Palgrave Macmillan, Fred Burton, former Deputy Chief of the Counterterrorism Division of the U.S. State Department's Diplomatic Security Service and Vice President of the private intelligence and consulting firm Stratfor, concluded after a lengthy investigation that Alon's killer was an agent from Black September who was killed by Mossad in 2011. The documentary film Who Killed My Dad by Leora Amir Bermitz aired on the First Channel in Israel in April 2011. The historian Yuri Milstein and Colonel Yaakov Agassi presented a theory which said that Alon had been assassinated because he unwillingly learned about the conspiracy theory, the Kissinger Plan for the Yom Kippur War, which involved collusion between the U.S., Israel and Egypt and was designed to allow entry for the U.S. into the region as a savior and future power broker for both Israel and Egypt by stopping the fighting after previously agreed upon objectives had been achieved. Ezer Weizman answered for the question that Joe was killed because he knew something he should not know about. It was because he was getting drunk. The film also described that Yuval Gonin had said to Adam Baruch, which wrote in his book, that he was killed by one of our own because he knew something he should not know about. Yuri Bar Joseph had rebuffed the theory and the findings. Renewed investigation. Due to a lead developed years earlier by journalist Adam Goldman, the FBI reopened the case in January 2017. The new investigation involves information recently given to an agent by Venezuelan terrorist Carlos the Jackal that sometime after 1973 American veterans sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, one of them a prominent former Black Panther, approached Mahmoud Ould Saleh, a Mauritania-born manager of the Arabic bookshop on the Rue Saint-Victor in the Latin Quarter of Paris and member of the extremist Palestinian Rejection Front, killed in 1977. Saleh put them in touch with suspected Black September militant Kamal Kerbaik, later killed, known to have managed terror attacks including 1975 OPEC siege. Every sale of the gun identified as the murder weapon, a .38 caliber revolver, that was sold east of the Mississippi has previously been identified by the FBI, which is now tracing the purchasers of those guns. See also List of unsolved murders. References. Further reading. Burton, Fred and John Bruning, 2011. Chasing Shadows. A Special Agent's Lifelong Hunt to Bring a Cold War Assassin to Justice. Collegieville, M.N. Palgrave Macmillan. ISBN 0-230-62055-8. External links: Israeli diplomat murdered in front of Bethesda home, killing call. Yosef Alon. CIA had a lead unsolved mystery. Who shot Israeli military attaché Yosef Alon outside home in D.C. suburb?